I still hear music playing. I don't know what's going on. Hey, everybody. Did they faded for me? Maybe that's it. Oh, oh, I see. I have one of my shows in my own ear here. Never a good thing. Never a good thing. So now I have to go and find wherever I'm listening to my own self, and I have to turn it off. Oh, geez. Let's see. I think it stopped. Woo! Thank God. Well, let me fix this too. We got all sorts of craziness going on. Hey, what's happening? Alien Ed here from Tridactyls.com. You know, we're just trying to bring education, maybe make it a little entertaining at times. Of course, there's lots of people that you can learn from. I like to start my day by checking out what's going on at the Alien Project. So maybe we should do that first. Let's just check out the Alien Project page just in case, because the other day I went there and I didn't realize that there was actually a new discovery. Let's see if they even have it in the discovery section. So cool. Let me share this if it's not being shared. Yeah, it's not. Got to change the share system here. Sunny and share. Well, I believe in life after Tridactyls. All right, so the question is, what do you see? Nothing. I hope everybody's doing good. I hope everybody is learning about this stuff. I hope you are checking out your local museums again, and maybe even, I don't know, going there and just discovering things. Maybe checking out new myths and legends, old myths and legends. Are there new myths? Here we go. So you should be seeing what I'm seeing, which is great. We're on my favorite website on the planet. Well, aside, I guess, from Save the Chimps. So we have the Alien Project here, and we're going to go ahead and let's go to their site and see what they have on for discoveries. So we have it listed very interestingly. They say there's 3 species, but I don't know. Is a hybrid a new species? And it says insectoids. I'm wondering if those insectoids are juveniles by any chance because of their extremely sort of curved body. I suppose maybe they're progenitors. They're progenitor. Maybe they're older. I don't know. I guess that remains to be seen. But they're definitely not insects. Definitely not insects. Although I guess they have some sort of hardened plate on their abdomen, perhaps, which is interesting because is it their abdomen or their thorax? Yeah, it's their abdomen. What's interesting is that there is the myth of the black tortoise. There's some myths that say like tortoises or turtles can't be born unless they mate with a snake or something. And so the black tortoise is one of these mystical great beasts in Chinese mythology. And I posted today, I was wondering if perhaps it is a metaphor for Antarctica. I feel like everything is leading us to Antarctica because it is the last frontier on the planet. It is the true underworld. So we have humanoid reptiles, hybrids, insectoids. We've got Alberto. Now, I was thinking about Alberto. I made a list the other day of how many specimens there were, and I actually forgot a couple. Like, is it Mauricio was one? Mauricio and Clara were actually the ones that they showed us in the Mexican Congress. I think those are privately owned. I think that's why we have different teams of people looking into this. And now, well, one of the reasons I wanted to talk to everybody is that we have that report from the team, the Peruvian team, but the German doctor, the woman, plays a big role in it, and she did a nice little stream that was shared by Mr. Gonzalo, excuse me. Yeah, and there's a new scientific report. So, who do we have on here? Also, we've got Artemis, who's got the groovy eggs we're going to look at. Josephina has eggs too, a little harder to look at. Paul and the Family is interesting. Is that like a new, it sounds like a new sitcom, Paul and the Family. Those were the days. Okay, so we have Paul and the Family. We got Victoria. Victoria is the headless one. Victoria might be Victor, but maybe that's the joke. Victor, Victoria. It's an in joke. All of these are obviously hybrids. I guess you could tell the difference of the hybrids. Shouldn't be too hard. First of all, the Whittles are only this big. The Yakshas, you might want to call them. I don't know. There's so many different names for these people, right? The fairy folk, ant people, dwarves, gnomes, kobolds, goblins, bogarts, hobbits that live in a hole in the ground. Yeah. So who else we got? The hybrids. Maria, of course, is with child. Montserrat and Raphael are. I wonder why they don't list Maria's child. Did I get the two characters mixed up? I'm pretty sure she has a child. We'll have to check. I thought I just found that. Well, I didn't find it personally. There was some things I think I found personally, though. Sebastian, look at Sebastian. I haven't really looked at Sebastian. I think Sebastian is the newish one, so I should probably check out this one first. So let's go check out Sebastian while we're here. I don't know who's on. I don't know how many people see this either now or then, but whatever. It's a thing. It's here for posterity. Oh, look at that creepiness and all its fleshy goodness there. Uh-huh. Yeah, look at that. The foot structure, it looks a little more human, I think. I don't know. I'm not an expert. Despite the tridactylism that is. How wild is that? Look at that. How far away are we from these things? How much hybridization did they do? Are we hybrids in general? Are they walking the earth right now? Are they manipulating politics like they may have done? Hey, let's look back at one of the first appearances of a dragon in Western mythology. Has to do with advisors for, I think it was Marduk. Yeah, they were advising him. So I don't know how involved these beings are, and I mean, where's the line drawn? Who is who? I see there's a lot of people that say they're bad guys. I'm hoping that they're good guys, or at least there is a good faction. So we're going through discoveries. We saw Sebastian. We've got little Wawita. Nukari is another one of those insectoid types, they call them. They're not insectoids. Sorry. They don't have 3 limbs. They don't have mandibles. They don't have exterior eyes or antennas. There's a lot that's not there. So I'm going to have to petition that we change that. So always go here to check out what's going on. But we're really here today to look at the 3D viewer because, I don't know, I want to make sure everybody is getting their share of these eggs and these fetuses, because if it's the case that these are what I think they are, then we are some of the first people to see these. And in a historical sense, that means not only are we the first to see maybe a tridactyl fetus publicly, but we're the first to see possibly real life young baby dragons and nagas. Yeah, we keep talking about dragons, but dragons were beings. Dragons were these guys. I'm pretty sure. They went through a metamorphosis, perhaps a quickened evolution, if you will. I don't know. Or maybe through that crossbreeding and hybridization, they were able to integrate themselves with the humans. So here we are at Artemis. If you guys want to do this, the diatom later, of course, we don't need that. Take that off right away. We can just go right down the line here. I usually take all of these off. Even the egg I take off. Oh, look at that. Is that new? I haven't really looked at the hearing system. Okay. Although it could be, I don't know if it's related to a breathing system, a respiratory system. Are those ears or are they spiracles like marine life? So we'll take off the hearing system, the spinal bulb. Metal implants, as cool as they are, we'll take those off, and you can see we have an eggshell. And one of the first things you might notice about the eggshell is that it looks like a couple of pieces are broken off. I think we would consider that hatching. Now, if you notice, those pieces come off right away and they are no longer there. The clipping cam, I don't particularly think we need. Okay, so here we are again. We are at Artemis for those people who haven't seen this. Someone asked me today, well, how can we go about seeing this? I think whatever reason, imaging or some sort of lighting, there's not much to see on this side, this big red side. Although I do see the possibility. Do these things themselves have eggs? I guess it's not that unusual if you consider mammals are born with ovaries, but those look like proper little like chicken eggs. So that would, I don't know. I think if they all have eggs, then it sort of leans towards this hermaphroditic parthenogenesis, which it's just me. I put forth that theory myself, only based on myth, only based on the tales of Loki and Seth, or Set, and even Yahweh himself, who said, I was Shaddai and now I'm Yahweh, as though he went through some sort of a sex change. Oh, the irony, don't you think, my religious peeps? The irony. So, not much to see on this side. Check out your camera directions over here. It's like a video game, so some of you might actually fly this ship better than me. So, it looks like this moves the whole camera. I'm holding down my mouse. This zooms us in and out. Oh, it's like deep in space, there comes a being from the cosmos. Oh, Josephina, Josephina, Josephina. All right, so we're zooming in on Josephina. Yeah, well, a little too much. And now we're going to rotate around. Oh, look at that. We're already into some goodness. Let's go back just to watch that happen. Okay, so you start seeing all those little pieces there. Now we can start to zoom in. Okay. Now, again, I'm no expert on CT scans. I'm no reptilian expert for that matter, but I've tried my best to become a historical tridactyl expert, or as I like to give them the name, Nagi Tridactylus. I'll never be able to name him, but we can dream. Check this out. Let's zoom in. Okay, so right here I see these. So far I've pointed out some possible eggs within eggs. And then right now I'm pointing out these striations, these like muscular striations, perhaps resulting from their serpentine self. And, perhaps these striations can be seen through their skin. I don't know. I even suspect, and I don't even know why I know this. I feel like I know this for some weird reason. I'm not kidding. Is that I feel like these striations end up as their fingerprints. I don't know why I know that. Maybe that's some other science thing that happens to humans or something I've heard. I don't know. Let's move in. Okay, so this stuff here could possibly be bone. Again, doesn't look like anything specific, so I hate to say it. It's just very reminiscent to the images of other, what looks like skulls to me. So, as people point out, since we don't know the imaging, it could be anything. Here's some more striations here. Wow, look at that. I just saw, see, that's where you go into this. You go in to see new things. So I see like this circle here. I don't know if they have anything on their bodies that relate to that circle. I don't know what that is. Another possible head here looking down. Possible, I don't want, again, do I say head? I don't know what that is. There's definitely some weirdness happening over here. Wouldn't that be funny after all of that if like this was actually the face? This like giant like snake face I'm seeing. Again, I'm pareidolia right now. I'm pareidolia my ass off. All right, let's go right. Let's see. What are we going to see? What are we going to see? I hope someone's there. We go. That's the original thing that I thought was a skull. So, and that I identified, pieces of the skulls. So I'm hoping that's correct. That's kind of interesting. It's very touchy, right? You notice that? I don't mean to jump in and out like that, like a complete spaz. So from this view, you can start to see it. There appears to be skulls. There appears to be, again, those like striations. We're going to go ahead and move in. Maybe it's better to see. It's very touchy. Maybe it's better to just rotate before we move in, because that seems to be. And I think that might be the case, guys. If you really want to fly around these egg asteroids here, I would pull out first. Yeah, pull out first, and then we're gonna go in. Let's see anything here. What's over here? Zooming in. Oh, what is? I don't even know what that symbol means. That's like some sort of mouse symbol. I don't like it. What's going on? Mouse isn't working. Okay. Okay, so here's something I have posted. Again, could be a skull, could be an arm off of here. I'm not sure. That's so vague to me. But look, you get to see a larger section of this like striation, right? What is that? Is that some sort of protolimb? What is that black crease there? Well, I'm probably boring you guys at this point, because I feel like if I just zoned out myself, that means you guys are probably zoning out. Let's just finish this tour. We're just going to go around one full turn, and you'll see how it starts to turn back to, yeah. Okay, well, fun stuff. Oh, wait though. That's a new angle for me, I think. Let's move in, can we? Not let me move in. Why is that? Interesting. What happens if we play with the clipping camera? Usually what happens for me, everything just disappears, so it makes it like not really useful for me to use the clipping camera, to be honest. Anyway, I don't really see much more, but that's something anyone can do. I look forward to more of these. Let's see what else we can share today. Hey, by the way, if anybody is listening, you are welcome to call in. Call in. I would have to share you the link. There's no call in. This isn't like I'm used to doing the blog talk radio. You guys ever do those? That's always fun. Blog talk radio. I like that. So if you want, you can toss me a chat in here, and that's from whatever you're streaming. You can type something, and I should see it, hopefully, especially from X. It's also on Facebook and hopefully YouTube and stuff like that. But I wanted to show you guys, I've been working on a slideshow in the hopes of doing a Tridactyl lecture. It's going to be a little bit of the physical science, but it's going to be a lot of the cultural work that I do. So looking at artifacts, discussing myths, things of that nature. Oh, I see. I have a little button up here. Share this tab instead. Cool. That was fun. Looks like it started me at the end for some reason. That's useful. Start slideshow. Hey, how fun is this? So I'll probably be showing this a lot because I'll be working on it probably another day or so. And I can just share with you just what I've done so far. Tridactyls are constant companions. This I'm probably going to rewrite. It's a little wordy. I want to break it down to some sort of bite-sized bit. But I can keep that there as a placeholder for now. It just goes into how, I believe that these beings essentially created human culture. which is why it seems like almost all the religions, if not all the religions, lead to them. Basic symbolism such as hearts leads to them, crosses, all that stuff. Okay, so yeah, we are going to go into archaeological evidence. I'm going to be reusing my groovy little memes I make for the internet, these info memes. So here's just things to look for when you are looking for the tridactyls in art. Ideally, you want the three fingers and toes, of course, but throughout time, as the tridactyls kick around the human race, and whatever this hybridization is happening, I don't know what the results are. We may have five fingers, or they just become anthropomorphized because we've forgotten all about what they look like, or they become stylized and it just become like a symbol. So I led with this one. Isn't he one of the best? She, probably, more than likely. It. We want to say it. What do we have to ask the Dogu what they identify as, of course. But again, if they're hermaphroditic and parthenogenesis, and what if they are? What if they go through these things? What if they're hermaphroditic, and what if they're our ancestors? Well, then everybody's got to give the LGBT community a break, right? It's in our nature, sort of thing. So, moving on. Syrian eye idol. This one, of course, everyone says looks like E.T. You know it. Definitely looks like E.T., but more importantly, E.T. looks like it because, Spielberg was working close with Hynek from Project Blue Book. So they had inside information. Hynek probably had seen bodies firsthand. How else would Spielberg get such lifelike things? Now, Spielberg did say he had an imaginary friend that was based on, so you never know. Okay, moving on. So a lot of these, the descriptions up in the left-hand corner here, these are probably not permanent. These are, again, just placeholders. I'm going to do a full lecture on all of these things eventually, and hopefully I'll fill up the slides with a lot more facts. But this is what I'm planning on bringing to a live venue, and hopefully we get the information out. I collected a couple of my memes of the eggs. And of course, the video that I just watched, we watched, but
specimen,
the one I made for our purposes.
As Artemis. The eggs appear to be in a state of hatching. What one expects to find in the eggs of a tridactyl are pig dragons. Pig dragons were made by the Hongshan culture circa 3500 BC, give or take 1,000 years. Oh, is that one there? Let's follow that anomaly, that appendage off of the large mass of egg. There it goes. We have the upper view, looking down. We're looking upwards at its chin. Is that a face of a tridactyl fetus? Is this the face of a pig dragon?
So that's cool. I have that in the slideshow, so I'll be able to show people that. This was actually the very same skull we just saw. I'm confident enough into thinking it's a skull that I lined up this model of the head over the skull and labeled the various bones that are, I think, kind of obvious. That temporal bone, once you see that, it's big. It's big and it's triangular. fact, we have some slides we made where that triangle could be of symbolic importance. Keep in mind, if these things are the post deluge tutory beings, they taught man probably everything language, mathematics, then they may have just used themselves as examples, especially with the letters. So again, this is what we just looked at. I tried to get a screenshot of the face. As weird as it looks, I still can't help thinking about like the Sphinx with that. And again, the skull without the labels or the overlay. So this is interesting. This statue on the side, we're going to see again. This was what I call steganography. There is a face hidden within the statue, and so I took a screenshot of the baby Tridactyl, the baby Naga, the baby dragon, and I overlaid this statue face, which I had already thought was very hyper realistic, and it's great. And they really match very well. Although for some reason it reminds me of Marvel Comics Sasquatch. Yeah. So we will get into the steganography, hidden messages, or pareidolia. Here's a couple of Amun statues that seem to be concealing the image of the tridactyl head and face. And then this image here is interesting because if that is the pharaoh, then what is that message of this tridactyl being overarching that pharaoh? I think there's something like that on the Sphinx. I've never heard anyone speak of it, but there's definitely a shape on the Sphinx's sternum that requires some explaining. Maybe someone has explained it. I just don't know. And again, so here is this Yaksha guardian dwarf. This was in a Praveen Mohan video. He was pointing out the uniqueness of the dwarves being there, but I don't think he saw the face of the tridactyl hiding within. And these beings will have left and right positions. If I'm not mistaken, that is the matriarch on the right, and this would be the patriarch on the left. And so we just highlighted that. It's a side view. I could probably get a better shot of that. That could be one of my goals. Thought this one was interesting. I always thought it looked like a face. Anyway, I never really was able to put together what kind of face it was. This might be pareidolia, I admit it, but it was too fun not to enter to the slideshow. This Naga statue caught my eye because of the very uncobra-like faces with little noses and seems like knowing eyes. I was wondering, are some of them wearing goggles? It looks like they're wearing swim goggles. Okay, so we'll do a little section here on Maria. So I've got a couple of different memes here. Iconography, this is about the various symbols that I suspect have been spawned by these beings from the alphabet letters in various alphabets. The cross being simultaneously their physical form and their hands. The heart, the shape of their face. The peace symbol, their hand inverted. The floor, a stylized mother goddess, also with a possible... These symbols are multivariate, so I believe that many times there's going to be layers of symbolism. That also looks like two serpentine beings on the side there. And then we have the shamrock, which appears to have three faces. The cornucopia, that one always gets everybody like, what? Cornucopia? Yeah, they were looking really anthropomorphic in some of the statues. So I'm like, okay, hold on a second. Why are they holding that thing like it's alive? And as you go back in time, the cornucopia becomes less and less stylized and more serpentine, till eventually Harpocrates, I believe is his name. It's like a Greek name for, I believe, for Horus. As we go back in time, you see the cornucopia becomes more and more serpentine, until eventually the godchild is holding a snake. The Ionic columns, I believe, is a stylized form of their eyes, with the pomettes possibly even being a symbol of the mother goddess giving birth to her many progeny. This one gets people too. Believe it or not, the paisley is one of the oldest symbols in planet Earth. And I believe that's related to another piece called the Magatama, and I think these are showing larva stages. So we'll do a little slide here about the various people involved, giving a shout out to Theory and Salce Benitez. Of course, a big part of my theory. Oh, looks like my slides are a little mixed up. That guy's not supposed to be there. So good to know. That's why I'm going through this. So, of course, a big part of the constant companion theory is just the number of cordiform, heart-shaped faces there are on the planet. There's a lot of these. So we suspect that their relation with the tridactyl limbs, with serpentine spirals, and with mother goddess imagery, and that combined with the ancestral narrative about reptiles and serpentine beings giving birth to man, we believe that it's just me, there is no we, unless you count him. We believe that the tridactyls are what spawned the heart shape, the heart emoji that we use today. And I think this key point is super, super important in providing a scope of their influence. If something as simple as a heart emoji is based on their face, that's again, it leads us to believe that these beings were very influential. And we probably have that symbolism to love because they were ancestral beings, according to the Maori, mother goddesses, if you will. So that heart, it always made me wonder, why is the heart shaped the way it is? When in reality, I noticed if you turn the tridactyl head lengthwise, well, now it actually does remind me of a human heart, which would explain perhaps why we named the other side of it the heart shape, right? I think this has something to do with the medieval mythological creature, the hart, which was a white horned being that would frolic through the woods and it would be hunted, related to, is it Hermes, the hunter? Possibly. That does sound familiar. So, heart versus heart, I think there's a connection there. And I think etymology there is as well. So, since we're talking about the cordiform shaped faces, here's some from Oceania. I hope to overwhelm the viewer whenever I show this slideshow live. I hope to overwhelm the viewer with the cordiform imagery because there's so much of it everywhere. The ionic columns, so this just demonstrates some of the possible evolutionary, architectural evolution that may have taken place. I believe it comes from originally from the eye idols. So somebody who created that being probably had firsthand account of them because that's rather realistic. And then for whatever reason, and this is like 3500 BC, so within maybe several hundred years, their memory is already forgotten, and now we have these stylized versions that are used for the god An. Now, if you notice, the eyes have taken on that spiral themselves. So it could have a couple meanings. It could be referring to their marine existence. But there's also a lot of myths of them having the ability to cause panic, as in Pan the satyr. One etymology of the word dwarves is to cause some sort of confusion. So they may have some sort of ability over us mentally, whether it's tech or a lot of people allude to audio frequencies. I don't know, that's beyond my pay grade, but there is definitely talk about them being, speaking telepathically too, according to the Australian myths. So anyway, yeah. So something, and again, like the heart, if something like the ionic columns is derived from them being outside the temples devoted to this being and a mother goddess related to serpents and eggs. So that's like a big deal. It's a big deal if ionic columns and hearts are due to these beings. And that's just scratching the surface, which would make sense why things like religion is the result of contact with them. Someone posted a picture of like 8 different religious symbols, and I'm pretty sure they were all related to the Tridactyls. So as a little placeholder, definitely want to get into the skin. I don't know a lot about biology and whatnot, but I'm super interested in cultural references, such as does the imprints, the designs, the patterns on ancient ceramics right here in Florida, Georgia, even, did the Native Americans attempt to either emulate the being's skin with these cross hatchings? Or, as in some cases, did they actually use skin to impress upon the clay? Or is it just, again, just an emulation and it's, at the very least, it's emulation, meaning they're copying. They're copying the skin, they're putting it in the clay. At best, they're literally taking the skin and impressing it in ceramics. I'm even hoping that this is, again, just more or less a placeholder. I just started just a cursory uh, research into this cross hatching, which I believe is indicative of their reptilian skin. So we have a Vincia skull, we have some cross hatching going on from, I believe, an Incan, probably Picchu itself. We have a snake here with some very similar to that might be Florida actually. Some Florida ceramics. I know I don't have any of these guys labeled right now either. So, but the cross hatching, I'm going to have to add that to my symbol meme because this is important. Again, once you start looking at all these different artifacts every day, you start to see the patterns, and this is a pattern for real, right? It's a pattern of a pattern. Wouldn't it be great? Now that's ceramic on the lower left there. Wouldn't it be great if we found maybe the skin impressions in the clay, or if we actually found their fingerprints? What if we found out that Native Americans weren't just emulating the fingerprints of the tridactyls, but some tridactyls actually touched the clay? And that's kind of what that looks like over there. And again, one of my theories is possibly this relates to those same striations we see in the CT scan. This is a super close up. I can barely make out what it is, to be honest. This is off one of the latest reports as they look into the metal. They said they found some osmium, but I can't really find it properly in the report. They also found some iron, which they said that the ancient Peruvians, the ancient South Americans, did not use iron. And so that iron is either from a meteorite or I say it could be from Europe. Why do I say it could be from Europe? Because we see some lettering. We see some script that looks like the Vincia script. The Vincia script, which is related to this piece right here. This Vincia head, if you will, with the cross hatching. You see like all these like different motifs and theories can start to be welded into one. We have new information. We have new data. It's the tridactyls themselves. It's the bodies. So with these bodies, I've been able to, I feel like, run off and make some better connections that maybe we weren't able to make before because the science isn't there. And scientists, of course, they need their evidence. No evidence, there's nothing there. But I think sometimes the evidence is itself. The case is itself. I don't know how to put that. It's kind of like, let's put it this way, the megaliths, right? So they're saying that some of these megaliths, they were made by hunter-gatherers, and there's no evidence of agriculture. I just feel like the megalith itself is the evidence of agriculture. You need agriculture to make that happen. Anyway, that's another debate for the archaeologists. And those guys are tough. If you guys are going to debate an archaeologist, I mean, I'm one, but I'm talking about like these professors and doctor types. Make sure you have all your I's dotted and T's crossed, right? Fingerprints. How cool are these just to have these? Again, it's one of these little details like the eggs, like the fetuses, that just lends credence to like, hey, these things are real. So the skin, this is out of the new report. Let's read the quote from Dr. Sabine Kremer. This is not normal skin as we know it. I am not saying it's reptilian, but it's reptilian because that's scale-like, as you would see on mummified reptiles. There you go. I did my best German. All right. Letters and phonemes, the work of post-deluge tutory beings. You've probably seen this meme around before. Nothing new here. These are just some letters that are, I would say some are just definitely tridactyl. The first one, the heart, is Shin, which is the first letter of Shaddai, the goddess. You may recognize the upside down A, which I think is the result of an impression, a depiction of some cranial ridges. There is a Phoenician B there, which could be a mother goddess. A couple other original early proto Semitic letters. Some serpentine letters on the second row. Look at that. Kasi. That. It's got horns. Here's the Phoenician yod, which means hands. So I don't know if that's a hand or if that's a serpentine being who has a hand. This is the child, and these are all these great kind of like Yuan-Ti, kind of human, half serpentine beings. Whoa. We have these very strange Tian symbols here, which are basically just little tridactyl people. Yeah, that's their symbol for both like the heavens and God. And yeah, so it's kind of weird that a letter that old looks like a silhouette of them. And of course, the algiz is basically their hand, could be their body as well. All right. So phonemes are those little bits of sound. And so we have a theory that this letter and this sound of ka originating, I'm guessing, an Urhimat, an original homeland of this cross symbol here. So that cross symbol is a ka. And then this is up here in China is cacao. And by the way, I had put these arrows in here. I just kind of assumed that there was a route. And sure enough, there's a jade trade route that I need to look into more. Because, of course, jade is a green stone. And I think the jade stone is meant to emulate their skin. So you'll see a lot of these great green stones. The Maori do it along the Pacific coast. There's this whole circum-Pacific kind of cultural rim that I think needs to be redefined that includes Asia and South America and Oceania all together. So this is, not my it's my opinion. This is not necessarily a professional linguistics opinion. Is that the name? A professional linguist's opinion, but it's a start. And again, I'm attempting to follow the phoneme ka and these two hand symbols, which may have started right here from Sri Lanka to the Harappan and the Indus Valley culture, and then may have spread. We'll see. Definitely one of our extra other little theories there. I see that it kind of crunched up the bottom of this meme, so it's probably good on looking at this. Constellations, I only put a drop in the bucket. I have lots of information on the constellations, on Ophiuchus and Hydra and Serpent Caput and Serpent Cauda. So this is Leo, which a lot of people say that the Sphinx is Leo, which I think it is too. However, I don't think it really is a lion. I think the beings in their quadrupedal stage, their four-legged stage, as they're evolving into bipedalism, were probably depicted lying down as lions. And I've found some three-fingered tridactyls. The Sphinx's head, like the head of the lion in Sri Lanka, have very similar measurements. So what Leo really is, based on his primary star, its alpha star, is a basilisk. And those of you who are D&D players might know the mythological basilisk will turn you to stone. The basilisk is it's the serpent prince. And so on the right is the horoscope sign for Leo. And if it's a lion, why does it look like that? Come on. Some of it almost feels like common sense, right? You almost feel like, oh, why didn't I see that before? These tridactyls have been around forever. But we didn't know. We didn't have the bodies. And whatever, the bodies, by seeing them and by believing in them, I think, I'm able to search out these things. And a lot of this stuff just kind of sticks out at me that maybe I would have ignored years ago. So we did mention the possibility of metamorphosis. Here's my guess using actual artifacts. The Magatama, which I believe is like a stone version of your paisley. The pig dragon, which you would hope to find perhaps even in some of the eggs of the tridactyls. And then this here is just photoshopped right off of a statue. So I cut off the bits I didn't want in this picture. So there's no, I'm being forthcoming here. This is Ganesh's head, but Ganesh's head looks awfully like that child letter we saw earlier. In fact, the Tamil term for Ganesh is the child. That's what they call it. Of course, Ganesh has the myth of having the head cut off. What else can you say about Ganesh? It's the leader of the Ganas. The Ganas are like the Yakshas. They're dwarf-like beings. So there's a lot there to unpack. There's more to it than just an elephant-headed god. So, of course, the myths and ancestral traditions have been super useful. Here's some myths that I've stumbled across. You might know some of them. Man from the mouth of serpents, serpent as mother goddess, man from egg, master of animals. So, master of animals is the only one on there, I think, that's really known. Hold your head up. Oh, I keep hitting it. Hold your head up is what I refer to when I see a lot of the statues literally holding their heads up. Many of them are tridactyl like beings or hybrid like beings. And I wonder if during the hybridization process, if perhaps the human skull to thin neck ratio of the tridactyls wasn't always in balance and may have caused some problems. And so I don't know. That's just a guess. There's a lot of this depiction happening. Just a little meme about me to let people know you're in good hands. I have performed archaeology. I have literally pointed out a location to dig and pulled out an artifact. So that's pretty cool. And welcome to Disclosure. This is what Disclosure looks like, at least from my part. I don't know. What do we have to wait for? Who are we waiting for to disclose to us exactly? You know? I mean, if the U.S. government shows us bodies that look like the other bodies, that would be kind of neat. But at the end of the day, what is this all going to admit to? It's just going to admit that the United States government is in bed with the military-industrial complex, the Boeings and the Lockheed Martins and the Raytheon and all those guys. And they probably have alien tech, and they're benefiting from it. They're benefiting from it financially and martially during war. So I don't know. Is this what the Tridactyls had in mind for us? I don't know. Then we'll just wrap it up with a nice little clap from Mr. Trid there. Awesome. So you just got a little sneak peek of my slideshow. I was able to go through. I saw some issues with it. I know there's some parts missing. I really want to flesh it out a little bit. But that was pretty good for just one day's work of making that. And then tomorrow I'll add another layer. So we'll see. Maybe it'll be 90 pages tomorrow. I'm going to leave you today with a couple of artifacts. There's a lot of myths that revolve around the decapitated heads of gods and demons. And of course, we have some decapitated heads at the Alien Project, don't we? And even that letter A, our letter A is essentially a inverted, much like the peace symbol looks like an inverted Algese tridactyl hand. Our letter A is an inverted head. So what is that about? Some of the oceanic work, too, will show one of the cordiform shaped heads at the bottom upside down. I don't know. But here's a couple of supposed Hongshan heads. Let's make sure that we can see these. I don't want to break them. It's hard for me to, let me close this out. We'll go big camera. Woo, woo, woo. I can't tell which way to go. There we go. Awesome. So I thought this one was really cool. Real small. I don't know what kind of stone that is. What do you call that? Agate? Hey, maybe it's jade. I need to find me I need to make friends with a good geologist if you know one. I went to the Miami Circle with a Russian geologist once. I don't remember what his name is. This looks like it could very well be modern, but I do like the fact that it is cordiform. So keep discovering out there. Stay with us. I know there's going to be way more discoveries coming out from all the scientists who are working with the bodies. I expect from myself to find more steganographic hidden art. And hopefully they release some more CT scans so we can go pig dragon, baby naga hunting. Live long and prosper. Alien Ed. Out.